have a client. We're going to say she's had the privilege over the last couple of years to take time away from work, off of work. She's not been working to really focus on her health. She's had some health issues come up in the last couple of years that have really made it very challenging for her to do anything more than figure this out. And I kept noticing a pattern, right? She's not working. 5 days a week, she was great. She would log, she would, communicate with me. We'd have our call on Fridays, and I'd be like, all right, let's make sure we get these weekend logs in. I want to see what's going on. And boom, she'd go dark. So on the next, there was a call a few weeks ago. It's probably been a couple months ago. And I said, I want you to do me a favor. And I want you to accept that you don't have any weekends. And she just kind of got quiet. And I said, are you still there? She goes, yeah, I don't like that. I said, oh, interesting. Why? And she was like, it terrifies me. Hey there, Adam. I have a doozy for you. I have a doozy for everybody listening, and I guarantee there's going to be at least 60 to 70% of the people listening are going to bristle at my suggestion today. But I'm kind of excited because I like that. I like challenging people. I like challenging our ways of thinking and, railing against what is and seeing what we can come up with. So are you ready?
I am ready. I love it. I'm excited.
Okay, here it is. Everybody, lean in close. If you're watching, keep watching. My suggestion is let go of weekends. What?
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know. What? No. Okay. Let go of weekends. Let go of weekend mentality. Ditch weekends. Now, I know it sounds totally nuts, right? But we live on a 5-day-a-week situation. We get those 2 days. Those are 2 days to do whatever the heck we want to do. I mean, come on. I could challenge that, first of all. But here's where this is coming from, Adam. And I want to start by saying thank you, actually. So, fun fact, for years and years and years, my body tutor, if you worked for Adam, for my body tutor, it was 7 days a week. It was 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this man right here single-handedly ran this company for years on his own, by the way, 7 days a week. And then he started hiring coaches on. I was amongst the earlier crew there, and we worked until the pandemic. Shocker. 7 days a week. There were no weekends. And let me tell you, there was a lot of resistance, not only from those around me, and I'm sure you experienced this too, Adam, right? Did people ever look at you and think dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, all the time. And I always wanted to figure out a way to give a day off. It wasn't that I want to work people to the ground here. It was just that I couldn't figure out a way to do it in a way that felt good for everyone involved.
Yeah, it's really tricky, especially because this is how the business started, right? I mean, we do offer daily accountability, and we still, in 2020, we found a way give our coaches Sundays off. If you're a current client, you're aware of this. Hopefully you appreciate how your coach shows up on Monday. And we're still holding you accountable daily. We're still looking at every day. But the reason I am thankful to you ultimately for this idea of letting go of weekend mentality is for years, I really resisted and resented.
Oh, man.
Having to work 7 days. It was so hard because here's my husband who is a 5-day-a-week worker and my children who were integrating into the school system 5 days a week and la-di-da on the weekends. And here I was working. And then one day I just thought, Haley, you're choosing this job. And these are the terms of this job. So accept it or move on. And I refused to move on. I wasn't going to leave this job. And there was something that kind of opened up in me and just was like, all right, if it's 7 days a week, fine. It's just the job. It's just how it is. And you've got to get what you need anyway. And that's what I'm really talking about, right? Giving ourselves permission every day to get what we need anyway. I don't care if it's a Tuesday, I don't care if it's a Saturday. And, when, it's a funny side note, when we did start taking Sundays off, guys, I had the Monday blues. All of a sudden, I had a Monday, which was so crazy to realize. Adam, did you experience that?
Well, first off, be right back. I'm going to go cry to hear that you resented my body tutor for a little bit. But I am so grateful you stuck with us. And listen, I think there's pros and cons to every job. And, not now I feel like I'm on the defensive here. I'm, again, so glad we figured that out. But I do think there are pros and cons. And, to answer your question, though, listen, I think when you love what you do, it is not necessarily a weekend, because it's like, to me, I love what I do. I get to do what I do, and that's really the way I
Yes.
look at it.
Yeah. And to be clear, it's not just body tutors over here having 7-day weeks, right? I mean, doctors. I just talked to a client this morning. His son is on call 7 days a week for 24 hours as a doctor. Holy moly, right? Like, we're not the only ones. I know there are plenty of you out there. Entrepreneurs. I mean, Adam, look at you. How many entrepreneurs do we work with? They work around the clock, right? And you're right. They love their work. They love what they're doing. Okay. All that aside. So here's how this has manifested itself in my coaching. And I want to see if it could show up in some of your coaching. But I have a client. We're going to say she's had the privilege over the last couple of years to take time away from work, off of work. She's not been working, to really focus on her health. She's had some health issues come up in the last couple of years that have really made it very challenging for her to do anything more than figure this out. And I kept noticing a pattern, right? She's not working. 5 days a week, she was great. She would log, she would, communicate with me. We'd have our call on Fridays, and I'd be like, all right, let's make sure we get these weekend logs in. I want to see what's going on. And boom, she'd go dark. So on the next, there was a call a few weeks ago. It's probably been a couple months ago. And I said, I want you to do me a favor. And I want you to accept that you don't have any weekends. And she just kind of got quiet. And I said, are you still there? She goes, yeah, I don't like that. I said, oh, interesting. Why? And she was like, it terrifies me. I said, why does it terrify you? She goes, well, if I don't have any weekends, then I don't get my time to reset. And I said, well, that's kind of crazy to think that you're in a place where you imagine you only get time to reset, restore, have fun, do what you want to do 2 days a week for the rest of your life. And, she was like, okay, I'm going to think about this. So it took a couple of weeks. We'd kind of laugh on our call. There's no weekends. It's just a day, right? But again, like, our body's not waking up going, yep, it's Saturday, time to cut loose, right? Or, oh, it's just Tuesday. The body doesn't know that. The body still needs those things from us every single day. Like I was saying to you before, Adam, like, you don't just stop taking your beta blocker on Saturdays and Sundays because it's the weekend, right? Nope, that heart needs you to take your beta blocker every day. So she's really embraced this idea, and it's so cool. Guys, she is talking to me over the weekends. I'm hearing from her on the weekends because it's just a day. It's just a day, and we've been working on making sure she's integrating, getting the things that she needs every day, not just waiting for those fun things or the cutting loose. And I know you've got arguments, and I'm going to let you air them, but she's finding a little bit every day, and it's really, really cool. And I think what's going to be great for her, and I know we're not all in that position where we can take time off work and get healthy, but she's looking at rejoining the workforce now. And it's like, all right, how are we going to defend this? Right? Like, how are we not going to let ourselves slip back into this mentality of, well, I only get what I need on the weekends. All right, Adam. So bring it on. I'm ready. I'm ready for the counter.
Well, I always love to look at the other side. And the other side is, hey, my weekdays are just very, very busy from start to finish. I don't have as much time. this is the way society is. We're conditioned to work, Monday through Friday. For many jobs, it's Monday through Saturday. And like I get, 1 or 2 days off a week, and that is my time, and it's only my time. And
Mhm.
that is the tricky part in this, because we do live in society, we do participate in society, right? For the most part, our jobs are Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday. That's the way it is. I always like to
Mhm.
see both sides, but on the flip side, I totally get what you're saying, and I think that's so important, because if you're miserable, 5 or 6 days a week, and you're just letting it all out that one day, I think your whole argument here is, how can we incorporate that one day into all the other days? And
Mhm.
even if it's for just a little bit. And to your point, though, you know, people who have diabetes, they don't stop taking their medication on Saturday and Sunday. People who take all sorts of medication, you don't stop on Saturday, Sunday, right? You're doing that every day, but yet there's certain times where people seem to stop taking care of themselves on Saturday and Sunday, and then they just kind of let themselves go, and they go the complete opposite direction because they need that break. They need that escape.
Yeah. Well, we see it a lot, right? Like, especially clients that come in and they're new to the program. One of the big things we see, they do really well during the week, right? Because of the structure of work. If you've got kids, the school structure, it's pretty easy to anticipate the time to eat and the time to shut up and get to work. So we see pretty accelerated progress during the weekdays. And then the weekends is like a yard sale. It's like, what is going on here? Like, I see hot dogs and apple cinnamon streusel things over here. Oh, and then there's your usual good breakfast, but it's topped with, I don't know, syrup. It looks like an elf meal. Um, so, um, and I think one of the complaints is, well, there's no structure. Okay, but well, why would you abandon the structure you offered your body of, sort of those healthy habits during the weekday? Use that, bring that into the weekend, and then there's your structure. And then somebody might say, okay, well, now I have, if you're working an 8-hour job, I have 8 hours of free time. Find something to do. Eating is not a to do, right? Like, that's my other thing. Like, yeah, have some fun. Go do things you want to do. We all have things we have to do on the weekends, right? We probably got to do laundry at some point. My client that I was just telling you about, she does laundry every day. Just one load. Just one load. She's not pushed that off to the weekend anymore, right? Because a lot of us do that. A lot of us punish ourselves with the tasks we don't want to do all week long, and we put it on the weekend, right?
Yeah.
I have another client, Adam, who she works similar hours to body tutors. She has her own business. And she was like, I was listening to a friend of mine the other day, and she was talking about how Sundays are her day. And she just spends the whole day restoring herself. She goes, that must be so nice. And I said, well, that just doesn't work for you. She's like, it just really doesn't. I said, so stop putting that pressure on yourself. How about you take restoration, you know, in a 30-minute increment most days? And she's like, well, I don't know. I guess I could try that. I'm like, okay, let's try it. She's eliminated weekends and things are getting better, right? And it's like embracing what is. Embrace that we're busy. Yes, we're living in this society and we are conditioned to think 5 and 2, but that's actually not what we're doing, right? So why do we force it with these health habits? Why do we force it? What do you think?
Well, I just to go back a little bit, I do want to give the counterpoint though that weekends are very different in that just people with kids, my weekends, from the very first, 8 o'clock, I'm out the door for practices and games, right? And my
Hmm.
weekend days are very different than my weekdays. And I think on the flip side, it might be helpful to treat weekdays as one entity and weekends as a different entity, in that what might work for you during the week might not work for you during the weekend. But the key thing is you have to plan for the weekend. And I know this is totally
Hmm.
counter to what you're saying, but I have to really plan my day ahead of time on a Saturday and Sunday because I'm nonstop from basketball to practice to track, like all over the place. So I really have to think through the day, and that's been super helpful to me. Um,
Hmm.
so I think that's could be helpful. Like you can't expect what works Monday through Friday to work Saturday and Sunday if your day is all over the place.
Right. I mean, if schedule, I think we're talking about kind of two different structures, if you will, right? Schedules change, right? That's one version of structure, is that schedules change. So you have to be flexible. And yeah, some people, it can be pretty stark, the difference between how their weekdays go and how their weekends go, right? The schedule, the actual timing of things is different. But I think I am talking maybe a bit more about like
The
uh
mentality,
the yeah, theoretical or mental structure, like how, like the things you need, you
right?
still have to get them in,
Yes,
right?
yes. And the
So
question
yeah,
is, how am I going to get them in and when, not
yeah,
if, right? It's a how
yes.
and when, not if. And I always like to think of weekends as such, and I don't want it to be weekend, right? Like the word
Mhm.
weekend. I want it to be a weekend. It shouldn't be Monday through Friday, strong, 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 and then the weekend I become weakened, right? And then I have to
Mhm.
start back up on Monday.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, actually I have a client who's embracing weekends as her accelerator, which I think is exactly what you're talking about, right? It's instead of the time we, I mean, maybe we slow down in some ways, but she's using it to accelerate her progress in health, right? This is not a time where I put it on the shelf and I say, well, that's just going to be in the way going forward. No, this is the time I'm going to make progress faster,
I
is
love
by
that.
viewing, yeah.
And because there's such a thing as a weekend warrior, right? There's people who really have no time during the day, Monday through Friday, and they're in the gym or they're exercising and they're doing all sorts of things for their health Saturday and Sunday. There is that flip side where it's like, Saturday and Sunday you may be you're saving yourself or you're treating yourself to the toughest workouts of the week. My toughest workout of the week, is usually on Sunday. Like I love that because
Mm,
I have a little more
yeah.
time in the morning and I take advantage of that.
Right, but here's now we're talking about the opposite of what a lot of people do during the week, right? There are those people that they only work out on the weekends
Yeah.
and then they end up injured. so so for those of you out there who might be those weekend warriors, because I see it in the gym all the time, it's like, oh, there you are on the weekend. Oh, and then you got injured because you don't do anything during the week. So again, kind of taking this full circle, my challenge to you is abandon weekend mentality. Obviously, we can't always control weekend scheduling versus weekday scheduling, but you need the components of health in some amount, and it varies each and every day. So why put it off until the weekend? Why put all your fun off until the weekend, right? And listen, it might not look at like going out to dinner and having a drink or two on a Tuesday night. I mean, that might make us regret life the rest of the week. I don't know. I mean, I'm not in that phase anymore. But like, here's something, and I'm pushing myself outside of the box this week, by the way. My son, and you'll love this, Adam, really wants to go up to the Y where I teach and play basketball this week, because a
Nice.
lot of times I have to take him with me to work and I let him shoot around a little bit right before I teach my classes. But he's like, I just really want to go play. So it's it feels weird. This is going to sound ridiculous because I'm sure there's plenty of you out here who do this all the time. But like tomorrow, I'm going to pick him up right at the end of school. He's not going to ride the bus home. And I'm going to take him over to the Y and we're just going to shoot baskets for an hour before the next class starts. And that's a hiccup. Like, that's not something I do routinely, but it's an opportunity for me to have some fun in a different way and not wait until the weekend. Because I could very easily just say, I'll just do it this weekend. But then the weekend's overloaded and it's fun and it's kind of out of the box and it's not going to require all that much effort on my part. So that's an example of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, whenever people come back from vacation and usually they're well rested, they feel great, they're like, that was amazing, I really needed that. I always ask the question of, what did you do on vacation that you can bring to your everyday life, right? And often it's things like a little reading every day, a little exercise every day, a walk, eating slowly, just really enjoying the atmosphere where they are, right? And those are things where no matter what is going on, you can incorporate into your everyday life. So the question I always ask is like, you feel amazing right now, you had an incredible vacation. What can you take in from your vacation and incorporate into everyday life? So
Mm-hmm.
in this case, it's what can you take perhaps right now that you incorporate into your weekends and sprinkle that through the weekday, right? I think that's ultimately what you're
Yes.
saying. And
Yes.
it doesn't have to be, we understand we all have time constraints, and sometimes constraints can be helpful. But instead of saving, certain things for the weekend, sprinkle it out throughout the weekday, so your life isn't so, miserable Monday through Friday and then happy Saturday and Sunday, right? Spread that
Hmm.
joy, spread that self-care, and it should definitely not be a case of on and then off just because on means misery, right? That's the idea we're trying to convey here, is to make that misery, hopefully it's not, a little more tolerable and enjoyable.
Very well said, Adam. Thank you for bringing it all together. Yes, that's exactly it.
Cool. Should we end this now so I can go cry again about the resentment?
I got over it, Adam. We did that video about resentment, quite a while back. I just said, okay, what would be helpful? And what would be helpful is you're here, you're doing the job, and it's great, and you love it. So just embrace it. And I did. I Listen, we tell people all the time, you have to embrace what is, accept what is. I don't just say it. I really live it. I really do, Adam. These things we talk about, I really try to practice them, right? I don't want them to just be platitudes and things people say. Like, I try it on. If it's not going to work, I'm going to let you know. I promise I would have let you know.
I love it. And we do try to preach what we practice, not the other way around.
Yes, exactly.
And, to just to summarize here, try sprinkling a little joy throughout your week. See how it feels. And, a little something goes a long way, always, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Remember, I think it's really helpful for me. My body doesn't know the difference between a Saturday and a Tuesday, right? So if I start there and it's like, okay, what do I need today? And you have permission to find it in varying amounts each and every day. You don't have to wait. Don't wait. You shouldn't wait.
Right.
You shouldn't wait.
And
Yeah.
do not let the weekend become your point where you get weakened.
Yes, it's the accelerator.
All right, guys.
All right, guys.
Have a
Anything
great
else?
day. Have a great whatever day you
It's
get
just a
this.
day.
Exactly.
This is just a day. It's a day, right? And let us know. We'd love to. Oh my gosh, we had a lot of fun responses from oh gosh, what was it? Oh, bite the lemon, right? People, I got a lot of emails about different lemons people were biting, the discomforts they were choosing. That was so great. Guys, we'd love to hear from you about this, abandoning the weekend mentality. Try it on. You're gonna feel resistance to it because it's for sure. But all the butts come up. Let them fly. Fly those butts. All right, that's it. I'm done. Wrap it up, Adam.
That's it. I got nothing else.
All right, see you
See you
guys.
guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.